Last time we talked about production in the short run, and as we said, production function differed in the short run from the long run as Q or Y, which is a function of labor and capital, in the short run we are going to assume that capital is constant, so this is the short run, while in the long run all variables can vary. Okay, so once again we said that production depends on labor and capital, or factors of production, but we have to differentiate between production decision in the short run and in the long run. In the short run, if you would like to increase production, you have to hire more workers only without increasing capital. But in the long run, if you would like to increase production, you are going to hire more workers and buy new machines or additional capital. Today we are going to talk about cost, which is the mirror image of production. We are going to focus on the short run. Also, cost will be related to short run. The cost of any company are divided into two main components: fixed cost and variable cost. Fixed cost means costs that does not depend on production. Such as rents. You are going to pay 100,000 as a rent for your factory or a land, for example, whatever the number of units produced. So if you are going to produce 1 unit, you are going to pay 100,000, and if you are not going to produce any units, you are going to pay 100,000, and if you are going to produce 100,000 units, you have to pay 100,000 as a rent. Okay, so rent doesn't depend on production. This is known as fixed cost. What about variable cost? Variable cost change or vary with the level of production. This means if you would like to increase production, you are going to hire more workers, so you are going to pay wages. So wages are considered to be variable cost. If you are going to increase production, you are going to buy new raw material or variable cost, and so on. So total cost equal fixed cost plus variable cost equals total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Or we can write it as C node, which is fixed cost, plus CV, which is variable cost. C stands for cost, C node fixed, CV variable. Okay, if you would like to illustrate the fixed and variable costs graphically, this is number of units produced, and here costs. Fixed cost fixed value, whatever the level of production. So it's gonna be parallel to x-axis. This is fixed cost. Variable cost is going to change with the level of production. So something like that. This is total variable cost. If you remember, we said that production had three main stages. Stage number 1, total product increase at increasing rates. Stage number 2, total product increase at decreasing rate. And finally, stage number 3, total product is going to decrease. Total variable cost is almost the inverse. As we said, in the first stage, total products increase at increasing rates. So total variable cost increase at decreasing rate. And this is stage number 1. With respect to stage number 2, total products increase at decreasing rates. So total variable cost increase at increasing rates. So this is stage number 2. With respect to stage number 3, total product decreases. So total cost increases. Total cost is a summation of total fixed cost and total variable cost. Total fixed cost is C naught. So this is the starting point of the total cost and it's gonna be parallel to total variable cost. This is total cost. This part is the okay. So the difference between total cost and total variable cost is the fixed cost. Total cost is parallel to total variable cost. So it takes the same trend in the 3 stages. Stage number 1, total cost is going to increase at decreasing rates. Stage number 2, total cost increases at increasing rates. And finally, stage 3, total cost increase. As we said in production, we have to calculate the marginal and the average. So also in cost, we have to calculate the marginal and the average. First, marginal. As we said, marginal means additional. If you are going to increase production by 1 more unit, what is the additional cost that you are going to pay? So marginal cost. Marginal cost is calculated as a change in total cost divided by a change in quantity. Or it's like a differentiation if it's a function. Marginal cost is the mirror image of the marginal productivity of labor. Okay, we can write marginal cost as a change in total variable cost divided by change in quantity. If If you are going to draw the marginal productivity of labor, as we said, in the first stage, marginal productivity of labor is going to increase till it reaches its maximum at the end of the first stage. Then decreases to zero at the end of the second stage, and then it will be negative. This is marginal productivity of labor. What about marginal cost? Stage number 1, as we said, marginal productivity of labor increase, so marginal cost will decrease. The end of the first stage is the maximum point of marginal productivity. It will be the minimum point of marginal cost. Stage number 2, marginal productivity of labor increase. Stage number 2, marginal productivity of labor decrease. Marginal cost increase. Stage number 3, marginal productivity of labor decrease and negative, marginal cost increase. So this is the marginal cost curve. Average. Average cost. In case of average cost, we are going to talk about 3 different types of average costs. Average fixed cost, average variable cost, and average total cost. Average fixed cost is calculated as total fixed cost divided by the quantity. If you are going to divide a fixed amount by an increasing number of units, let's take an example. Total fixed cost is 100. So whatever the number of units produced, the cost will be 100. What about the average fixed cost? As we said, average will be calculated as total fixed cost divided by the quantity. So with respect to quantity 0, there is no average fixed. You cannot calculate it. If the quantity is 1, it will be 100 divided by 1, which is 100. If the quantity is 2, 100 divided by 2, 50. 3, 4, as quantity increases, number of units produced increases, average fixed cost will decrease. So we can draw average fixed cost as it approaches 0, but it's not going to be 0. So this is average fixed cost. What about variable cost? Average variable cost. Average variable cost will be calculated as total variable cost divided by the quantity. It is the mirror image of average productivity of labor. These are the three stages. And this is marginal productivity of labor. And this is marginal cost. Now we are going to draw average variable cost. As we said, with respect to average productivity of labor, in the first stage is going to be lower than marginal productivity and is going to increase and intersect with marginal productivity in the second stage. After this point, average productivity of labor is going to decrease. So this is the point of maximum ABL. Now we would like to draw average variable cost. In the first stage is going to be higher than marginal cost and decreasing. So this is average. Intersects with marginal cost in the second stage, and after this point average variable cost is going to increase. So the same point of maximum ABL is the minimum AVC. The same point of maximum MBL is the minimum marginal cost. Okay. Now we would like to find average total cost. Average total cost can be calculated in two different ways. Number one, to calculate it as change in total cost divided by change in quantity, the derivative with respect to quantity, or the summation of average fixed cost and the average variable cost. Graphical. This is the average fixed cost. And this is the average variable cost. Point of intersection of marginal cost is point of minimum average variable cost. Now we would like to find average total, which is the summation of average fixed and average variable. It will be parallel to average variable. It intersects with marginal cost at its minimum point, and then it's going to increase, but it will be almost equivalent to average variable cost, as average fixed cost is going to decrease. So this is average total cost, and this is minimum average total cost. So average total cost and average variable cost are U-shaped curves, like U letter, okay? The minimum point is the point of intersection with the marginal cost. Just like in case of production, the maximum point of average productivity of labor is the point of intersection of marginal productivity of labor. This is the end of our lecture today. Thank you.